Chosen one, listen closely, because what I'm about to tell you is not casual, not coincidental, and not something that can be postponed for later reflection. This message is being delivered to you in a moment of divine interruption, a moment God has deliberately pulled you into because a critical mistake, yes, a big mistake, was made. Not to shame you, not to condemn you, but to wake you up before the consequences grow deeper roots. Right now, heaven is calling your attention back to the exact point where things shifted. There is urgency in this moment. You must stay with me until the very last word. Don't skip. Don't rush. Don't disconnect. Your spirit knew something was off, and that is why you're here. God is aligning you again, but the alignment requires awareness. As you listen, I want you to engage boldly. Write the deepest desire of your heart in the comments with the words Amen +777. This act isn't superstition, it's agreement. It's your spirit signaling heaven that you are ready, willing, and open. It's your declaration that you will no longer run from truth or pretend the weight you feel is random. Something powerful is stirring around you, chosen one, and your attention in this moment is the key to what unfolds next. This is your call. This is your awakening. And this, right now, is your moment. There was a moment, you remember it more vividly than you admit, where a subtle hesitation rose inside you. A quiet whisper, a tightening in your chest, a knowing in your intuition. It told you to pause, to reconsider, to walk away, or to choose differently. But you didn't. You pushed through the discomfort because momentum carried you faster than discernment could ground you. You felt the warning, but you were already halfway through the door. Maybe it was fear that drove you forward, maybe impatience, maybe loneliness, maybe pressure, or maybe you simply didn't want to acknowledge the truth because acknowledging it would require letting go of something you weren't ready to release. That one moment became a pivot point. You saw signs, small spiritual flags waving in the background, but you told yourself you could handle it, fix it later, or compensate for whatever felt wrong. What you didn't realize was that your spirit had already stepped out of alignment even while your body moved forward. And that small choice created a subtle distortion in your path. The moment wasn't dramatic, but spiritually, it echoed loudly. What looked harmless became a crack that widened with time. That was the moment misalignment entered your journey. Since that moment, you felt something off inside you. A heaviness, confusion, fog, or emotional friction that didn't exist before. You've been trying to move forward, trying to make progress, trying to push through, but it feels like you're walking through invisible resistance. Effort hasn't been the issue. Clarity has. You've noticed relationships shifting unexpectedly, people disappearing quietly, opportunities fading out of your hands, and motivation falling flat, even though your intentions remained good. The external world started to feel misaligned with your internal world, and you couldn't explain why. This is because the decision you made didn't just affect circumstances, it affected your spiritual trajectory. It disrupted the flow you were in. It dimmed the clarity of your intuition. It created spiritual static that made it hard to hear God and hard to trust yourself. You felt stuck, not because you're weak, but because the mistake carried a spiritual weight that lingered. You've been sensing the consequences without fully understanding their origin. But now, the veil is lifting, and you're being shown the root. The confusion wasn't accidental. It was the echo of a choice that pulled you off your divine pathway. But hear this clearly, God is not punishing you. Heaven is not angry with you. You have not been abandoned or disqualified. What you're experiencing is not wrath, it is awakening. God allowed the consequences to rise just enough for you to feel them so they could guide you back to truth. This is correction, not condemnation. In fact, the very fact that you are receiving this message, that your heart is open, that your awareness is stirring, is proof that God has already extended grace toward you. The door back into alignment is wide open, but it is time-sensitive. Divine timing waits for no one, and this moment is a sacred invitation to return to the track you were destined for. Many people make mistakes like yours and never receive clarity about them. They stay lost, repeating cycles without growth. But you, because you are chosen, are being awakened. This kind of awakening is a privilege. It means heaven still has plans for you that require your participation and your attention. You are not being punished, you are being prepared. You are not being shamed, you are being sharpened. This is the mercy of a God who loves you too deeply to let you drift into destruction. At the core of your misalignment, there was a person, decision, or pattern. You allowed to stay longer than its divine expiration date. Maybe someone was close to you who wasn't aligned with your next season. Their presence felt familiar, comforting, or convenient, but spiritually, they were subtracting, not adding. You stayed attached even when the signs were clear that the connection had run its course. Or perhaps the mistake was financial, purchasing something you weren't ready for, investing prematurely, or falling into a scarcity-driven choice. Maybe it was emotional, returning to a habit you thought you left behind, revisiting an old comfort that no longer served your healing, or giving energy to an old version of yourself you've already outgrown. Even small steps backward can create large delays when you're on a divine timeline. And whether you realized it or not, something you held on to, someone, some habit, some decision, dragged your spirit backward. You weren't wrong for wanting comfort or connection, but you were wrong for ignoring your intuition. This is the moment where God gently says, yes, that was the mistake, but it's not the end. That discomfort you felt afterward, it wasn't random, it wasn't anxiety out of nowhere. It was God's alert system activating, a spiritual alarm ringing to pull your attention toward what wasn't right. The unease was divine protection. The heaviness was heaven's way of telling you, you are not supposed to stay here. God allowed that weight to press on you, not to crush you, but to awaken you. You were moving with momentum, but momentum without guidance is dangerous. So the discomfort became a spiritual roadblock. It forced you to slow down, to question, to reflect, and eventually to see clearly. Awareness is the trigger heaven waits for. The moment you could finally acknowledge that something felt wrong, the path to realignment began to open. That discomfort was holy. It was sacred. It was a sign that God values you too much to let you drift off course without intervention. Now that awareness has settled in, the process of realignment can begin. You cannot leave this season until you face the truth of what happened. But the beauty is, you don't have to face it alone. God never left you. Even when you made the wrong choice, even when you ignored the signs, even when you pushed forward against divine guidance, heaven continued to cover you. Angels were assigned to your path, even during your detour. They didn't shield you from every consequence, but they protected you from destruction. And now, the covering is returning fully. As you step back into truth, you'll feel a quiet steadiness restoring itself within you. Flow will return. clarity will return, strength will return, and everything that stopped moving will begin to shift again. Realignment isn't punishment, it's restoration. As realignment begins, the first signs of restoration will be subtle, yet undeniable. You'll feel calmer, sleep will become easier, the internal chaos will quiet, your thoughts will stabilize, emotional clarity will return. You'll notice your spirit feeling lighter, as if something heavy has finally fallen off your shoulders. These are signs that the mistake no longer defines you. You've been carrying the weight of something unresolved, but now that truth has entered the room, the burden is breaking. The return of divine momentum isn't loud. It starts with stillness, with peace, with breath. And from that stillness, movement begins once again. What once felt like ruin is about to become revelation. The mistake wasn't wasted. It exposed what needed to be revealed. It purified what needed to be burned. And now God is turning the very area of your failure into the foundation for future miracles. Losses that felt painful are becoming permission for growth. Things that fell apart were clearing space for things that are truly aligned. Your mistake is not a stain. It is soil. And from that soil, something powerful is about to grow. Because you faced the truth head-on, something dormant inside you has been activated. Your voice carries new weight now. Your presence carries new authority. People will feel a shift in you, even if they don't know why. The unseen world recognizes your realignment. Your spiritual authority has been expanded because authority grows when ego dissolves. The very act of acknowledging the mistake awakened a strength within you that had been waiting for activation. Now, when you speak, spiritual realms respond. Once alignment is restored, acceleration follows. Delayed timelines begin to correct themselves. Opportunities reappear. Chains break. Cycles collapse. What once took months will unfold in days. Grace begins to move with speed when a chosen one returns to their divine track. Don't be surprised by sudden shifts, unexpected breakthroughs, or rapid progress. This is the momentum that was waiting for your yes to truth. Your past no longer holds shame. That memory that once made your heart sink now holds wisdom. The calling on your life was never revoked, only protected until you grew into the version of yourself capable of carrying it properly. You are now qualified, not by perfection, but by growth. Your past isn't a prison, it's a passport. It proves where you've been and where you refuse to stay. You now walk with sharper discernment, deeper clarity, and matured intuition. The pain from your mistake burned away old habits, illusions, and attachments that no longer belong in your next season. You move slower, but with intention. You think deeper, but with peace. You see clearer, not through wounds, but through wisdom. This transformation is not superficial. It's internal, foundational, irreversible. Your rise will speak louder than your fall ever could. People will see your strength and assume you never stumbled, but you'll know better. You'll carry quiet power, quiet wisdom, quiet authority. Your comeback will become a lighthouse for others who are still drowning in shame, reminding them that failure is not the end, and redemption is not only possible, it's promised. God rebuilds chosen ones privately before revealing them publicly. The quiet season you're entering is sacred. Your foundations are being reinforced. Your spiritual architecture is being strengthened. Discernment becomes your language. Sensitivity to atmospheres becomes your normal. Your internal world is being restored before your external world expands. People around you will feel the shift. They may not know why, but they'll sense a new authority, a new peace, a new groundedness radiating from you. Atmospheres will respond to your presence. Doors that were invisible before will now appear. And this time, you'll recognize which doors are yours and which ones are traps. Your private tears, the ones no one saw, activated heaven. God responds deeply to humility, and your honesty shook the spiritual realm. Angels have been assigned to guide you into this new season. Warfare will feel different now, less chaotic, more strategic. You are fighting from higher ground. You'll begin to experience moments of déjà vu. That's your spirit recognizing that you've stepped back into the timeline that was paused. Promises once thought lost return, this time without sorrow. What was delayed is now restored. Your life is clicking back into divine sequence. Not everyone will celebrate your growth. Some will resist because your transformation reminds them of their stagnation. Others will be drawn to your peace. But you are no longer seeking validation. Your focus is purpose. You've outgrown the need to be understood. You won't need to defend your change. You won't need to explain your shifts. Your results will speak louder than any argument. Your favor will be undeniable. Your flow will be unstoppable. Heaven has already approved what's being released in your life. A major part of your breakthrough will be forgiving yourself. The shame dissolves. The guilt releases. The version of you that made the mistake is no longer your enemy. You're integrating, healing, reconciling with yourself. Joy returns. Creativity awakens. Clarity flows. You finally feel free again. This healing is not just spiritual. It's emotional, mental, physical. Your mind clears. Your emotions stabilize. Your body feels lighter. You're no longer chasing clarity, you embody it. Transformation touches every dimension of your being. Then the external signs arrive. Stalled projects move. Opportunities reopen. Connections strengthen. Financial flow unfreezes. Doors that were locked swing open. But this time, it's not hustle, it's alignment. The outside world reflects the peace inside you. There is a specific door, a dream, opportunity, calling, connection that had been closed because your alignment was off. Now that you have returned, that door is preparing to open. This door leads to multiplication, expansion, influence, and fulfillment. It didn't disappear, you just weren't ready. Now you are. Your healing will heal others. Your testimony will free those who feel buried by their mistakes. What once wounded you will become a weapon against darkness. Your rise will serve as a roadmap for those lost in cycles of shame. Redemption always multiplies outward. You're not the same person. You carry a weightier anointing. You're no longer triggered by what once destabilized you. Old cycles no longer fit you. The mistake didn't weaken your identity, it refined it. You've undergone a permanent spiritual identity shift. You become a living symbol of divine comeback. Your quiet strength guides others. Your presence becomes reassurance that failure is not final. You are the lighthouse, steady, bright, unshaken, because you refuse to die in your darkness. Chosen one, hear this with your whole spirit. You are free. You are aligned. You are rising. The mistake is behind you. The lesson is within you. And the destiny ahead of you is unfolding with divine precision. God is not done. He is just beginning the unveiling. Everything is shifting because you answered the call. Stand ready, because what comes next will confirm that even your biggest mistake was no match for God's purpose in your life.